Hey guys, welcome to Cape and Cowl Cafe. I'm Nemo, and today we're going to be ranking the top 10 comic book Batman artists of all time. If you guys enjoy the video at any point today, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button, but let's hop right in. Alright, so there have been a crap load of good Batman artists over the years, so I'm not going to be able to cover everybody. So let's do some honorable mentions. Starting off, we're going to have to give a shout out to the three goats of the Bronze Age, Neil Adams, Jim Aparo, and Norm Breyfogle. These guys are just insane. Now, when it comes to Neil Adams, I may personally be a bigger fan of darker blues on Batman than brighter blues, but I cannot deny that Neil Adams draws an awesome Batman. I just love the little bit of extra line work on the suit that kind of gives it more texture. Definitely makes him look a little more gritty than a lot of other Bronze Age Batmans, even when he's wearing the bright blue, you know? Neil Adams just makes it work, and these poses, they're just so dynamic. He really is the GOAT. Now, Jim Aparo was the artist behind the famous Death in the Family storyline. His Batman looks a lot like Neil Adams, but his art has a little bit less detail, so it kind of makes his Batman look more like he's from the Silver Age, which I don't mind. I like the Silver Age, but obviously Neil Adams has the edge when it comes to that modern art style, but I still really love Jim Aparo's work. Now, Norm Breyfogle definitely has to be my favorite of the three. I think he is the most creative. I mean, look at this splash page right here. The perspective is just insane. It's just this one-shot panel of Batman traversing the Gotham City skyline. It's just so beautiful. Look at that orange lighting, the purple sky in the background. You got the Batmobile there. Just beautiful artwork across the board. He's also famously the one behind this picture. This is probably one of the most famous Batman images of all time, and he did this one. He's just so good. Mr. Breyfogle also draws a super sick Tim Drake, and one thing that I love about his Batman art is he saturates the blue a little more than the previous two, so it ends up looking like this darker blue, which I prefer a lot more. Now, as for the second honorable mention, I'm gonna have to go with my boy Marco Checchetto. He is famous for his Daredevil run, Punisher run, and his work on the Ultimate Spider-Man series. This guy is just awesome. His art style is so refreshing, and like all of his textures just kind of look scratchy looking, but it's so good. And this guy would do wonders on a mainline Batman run. Please, we need to see this. Marco Checchetto has to be one of my favorite comic book artists of all time, and it's such a shame that he has not been able to work on Batman yet. At least, if he has, it's probably some obscure thing that I haven't seen yet. I've only really seen this concept art and like little sketches that he's done, but this would be so peak. Come on. Alright, starting off the actual list, in 10th place, we got Bruce Timm. Obviously, this is the guy who is behind the visual style for the DCAU, Batman the Animated Series, Justice League, Batman Beyond, all of it. This is him. He is just so good. The dude may be a freak, but man, he designed some badass looking characters. I mean, just look at his Batman. This is just so beautiful. Bruce Timm's art style is just so recognizable and iconic. Everyone knows where this Batman is from. It's been really interesting to see how his art style has evolved over the years. I mean, you start out with B-Task. He's got this Art Deco unrefined style that's special because of its darkness and imperfections. And then you move on to projects like Justice League Unlimited, where his art style is more modernized and polished. And I prefer the previous art style, but you gotta admit, this dude's work is crazy. Like, he has a visual style like no other. This is childhood defining artwork right here. Alright, next up at number 9, we have David Mazzucchelli. He famously drew for Batman Year One. Most of his Batman art just looks like police sketches, and it's so badass. I mean, look at this picture right here. This looks like what a scared police officer would be sketching up after his first encounter with the Dark Knight. It's just crazy. I am just so glad that Frank Miller decided to not draw this himself when he wrote out the story, because Frank Miller is a terrible artist. I don't understand why people keep hyping him up. I don't see the appeal, you know? His art just looks gross. It's not fun to look at. I mean, have you seen this recent variant cover for the Superman Spider-Man crossover? What are we doing here? Mr. Miller, just pack it up, okay? Put the pencil down. You're done. It's okay. You can go home. Retirement is an option. But seriously, David Mazzucchelli's art style is just so good. It goes so hard, and it's probably one of the best art styles when it comes to old school, you know, gangland crime boss stories for Batman. He's the GOAT. All right, next up at number 8, we got Tony Daniel, who was famous for his work on Battle for the Cowl and Batman R.I.P. This guy's art style is just sleek. That's the best way I can describe it. Every surface and piece of fabric is just so shiny, and I think that has to be because he is one of the best when it comes to lighting up his scenes. My only gripe would have to be that he always draws these super suits to be too tight looking. I mean, that added with the fact that half of his artwork takes place in the rain, it just looks like everyone's perpetually wet, or, you know, their suits are just shrinking and like trying to eat them alive. It's kind of insane. But other than that, his art style is just so good. All right, next up at number 7, we have Jorge Perez, one of the undisputed GOATs of the comic book industry. He's famous for pretty much everything. He's done it all. Avengers, Justice League, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Teen Titans, you name it, he's done it. I mean, when it comes to Bronze Age Batman, I'm a way bigger fan of Perez's work than Neil Adams. I mean, first off, he often draws Batman in this darker blue right here. Obviously, that's going to win some points with me. But I mean, just look at these proportions and look at this guy's pencil work. This guy is insane, and it's not hard to see why he was the standard for so long. All right, next up at number 6, we have Hayden Sherman, the artist behind Batman Dark Patterns. Now, this is a pretty recent one, but if you haven't read this story, please go read it. I promise you, you are going to love it. It's basically the spiritual successor to The Long Halloween and Batman Dark Victory. If you love gritty detective Batman stories, this one is for you. Now, this story focuses more on some of the weird and unsettling aspects of Batman and his world, and the art definitely reflects that. It's kind of gross looking and really gritty, but it's also beautiful in a way. And I think a lot of that has to do with the color, the contrast choices, and the panel work. The panels are just so weirdly placed in the story, but it's really interesting to follow when you're reading through the whole thing. It's really cool. I mean, this Dark Pattern series already has some of my favorite Batman covers ever, and Hayden Sherman is just so good at placing you into the story. You're there right next to Batman looking at all of this gross stuff and these gritty, brutal crime scenes. It's so cool. All right, cracking the top 5, we got Chris Samnee. Now, this guy's art, it looks a lot like Darwin Cook had a son and taught him to draw. That's the best way I can explain it. Now, Darwin Cook is most famous for his work on Batman Ego and The New Frontier, and he really nailed that old school 40s aesthetic with his art. And I think Chris Samnee is trying to replicate that, but he gives it more of a modern edge, and it just looks so good. Chris Samnee recently drew for Batman and Robin Year One, and every single panel of that book is just a visual treat. So nice to look at. It's really interesting. Some of his art kind of looks like Bruce Timm's, but in more of a golden age kind of way, if that makes sense. I don't know. Either way, Chris Samnee's art is just amazing. All right, this next one is a lot of people's favorite, but at number 4, I got Greg Capullo. This guy is just insane. He's responsible for Zero Year, the Court of Owls storyline. He designed the Rebirth Batsuit. He's just incredibly talented. And speaking of the Rebirth Batsuit, Greg Capullo is the only artist who can make me stand not having trunks on a Batsuit. The Rebirth suit would be my favorite design of all time if it had trunks. And I honestly love the way he draws Batman of the Court of Owls storyline. Just all of the thick armor pieces on his forearms and, you know, the boots. It just looks so good. I honestly love the way he draws Batman's cowl where the nose part is a little more obscured and you can't really see it. And it just gives him more of a darker silhouette. I can't really explain it. I just love the way it looks. His artwork has always just had such interesting textures. And while I'm not a huge fan of his faces, I do love the cartoonish body proportions that he gives a lot of his characters. It's so nice to look at. All right, this next one might piss some of you off because I'm not putting him at number 1, but at number 3, I got Jim Lee. This guy is just on another level. Like, it is such a shame that he's not really doing interiors anymore. I get it. He's got bigger and better things to take care of. He's the head of DC Comics now. I understand. But still, you know, a man can dream. But seriously, this guy was like the Dan Mora of the early 2000s in comic books. Like, his artwork was the standard. Like, everyone considered this guy to be the best comic book artist of the modern era. And it wasn't really even close at the time, you know? He's got a lot more competition now. There are so many talented artists, but back then, this guy was the king, undisputed. Now, obviously, Jim Lee is most famous for his work on Batman Hush, and it's crazy because I don't even think that book is really that good. But Jim Lee's art carries super hard to the point where that story is still being talked about today. Like, it is one of those generational stories that nobody will shut up about, and it's not even that good. But his artwork is just, it's so insanely good. Like, I can't, ugh. Now, it was really difficult to decide for the top 2 because these 2 guys are the most popular artists right now. But at number 2, I'm gonna have to go with Dan Mora. Everyone and their mom who is a fan of comic books right now knows who Dan Mora is. He is doing some absolutely wonderful work on the World's Finest run right now. And he's also responsible for like the best Robin design ever. But seriously, this guy draws a mean Batman. And we've seen a lot of blue Batman lately, but when Dan Mora draws black and gray Batman, he just looks so scary. It's so cool. All right, next up at number 1, we have Jorge Jimenez, the current artist on the Matte Fraction Batman run. He is just doing a terrific job. His artwork is just so beautiful, and it's a little messier than Dan Mora's, but I think that's what I love about it so much, you know? And he is so good when it comes to dynamic action, his use of speed lines, and also his environments are so incredibly detailed, and I love the way he draws Gotham at sunset. It's just so beautiful. He just makes Batman look so scary, especially the way he drew him in the Failsafe storyline. So good. My only gripe is that sometimes he draws Batman with the exposed eyes, and it just looks weird and uncanny, you know? Like, it's just kind of creepy in the worst way possible. But other than that, his art is just perfect. Alright guys, that's going to be about it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it all, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button and drop in the comments down below your favorite Batman artist. Let's talk about it. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later.